everyone, welcome to Stand-Up Analysis. We're going to be looking at a stand-up set, analyzing the decisions we made along the way. And if you like this type of content, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Before we start, comedian, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Sidoui. And yeah, we're going to be reviewing some of my last set. This was in Thailand. It was some new stuff.
Good job for Simone, everyone. What a good host. Pat, how you doing, bro? Yeah, I'm ready. You having fun? We having fun tonight? Hell yeah. So as you heard, my name is Max.
Okay, how do we feel about our opening moment?
I felt better. I think, you mentioned it last time and I saw it now that I did it. It's such a natural response of like, the crowd is up and all that. Like, you don't need to ask how they're doing. And I said it in a different way. I just said like, we having fun tonight? And like, that watching it unnecessary, but I feel like I came in with some energy, thank the host and that guy who I said, like, you having fun tonight? The host was having fun with him throughout the night. So I just, like, threw that in. I was like, what's up, Vlad? You having fun? And that got a laugh, I noticed. Yeah, just that nervous tick of just, like, you guys having fun?
Yeah. If you feel the instinct to be like, you guys having fun, instead of asking it as a question, which then leads the audience, like, do we need to respond? You can always be like, I can tell y'all are having fun. You can always say it as a declarative. And then they feel validated, and it's sort of like, it's not weakening your position. I'm half and half on this opening moment, in that I like that we started focused on the audience, and we did make that connection, and I love that we made the move with this person about, like, we showed that we were real, we've been in the room with them, we've seen what the audience has seen. But our initial hand gesture, this thing is kind of, the first time we go up with our hands, it looks kind of stilted. It almost looks like I was told to do this. I don't hate it. I like that we did something that was inspiring the audience, but it was a little awkward. And then we're at the mic, and we focus a little bit we're like half focused on the mic, half on the audience. So it's not terrible, but it's like wow. Okay, I'll play this. Okay, great. We gotta say hey to the host as we walk on. Because you're looking at the mic as you're doing this, it seems fake. Because like if I really am trying to inspire you, I'm doing the gesture and my other physicality is following through with it. But if I'm focused on the mic and like this, it's like, hey, disingenuous because they don't have my attention. I think.
Good job for Simone, everyone.
Yeah, I like that.
What a good host. Pat, how you doing, bro? Yeah, I'm ready. You having fun? We having fun tonight? Hell yeah. So as you heard, my name is Max. And
I know we're trying to pull the mic off. That's the only thing, is that we were focused on the mic when we did our hand thing. And that one moment when we were like, if the mic is tricky, just be like, hey guys, I'm going to pull this mic. Just like, let the audience in. Don't try to hide anything from the audience.
Such a good point that you're saying. Such a subtle thing of me looking at the mic and doing this ruins it versus just like, look at them. The mic is there. It's not moving.
Because stand-up co-ops all the things we use to communicate in real life, unfortunately there are weird consequences from like how we talk in real life correspond to stand-up. For example, if someone's like, oh, I love you, you believe them. Someone's like, yeah, I love you. You're like, no, they don't. Because we assume people have feelings that they're not really revealing, any small thing will be like, aha, that's the emotion reveal. And so unfortunately things like that in stand-up, they have the same aha moment, even though there's a million other factors at play, so it's not the same, but blah, 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 so.
Yeah, actually, my sister just announced that she's pregnant.
Wait.
You heard my name is Max. And yeah, actually, my sister just.
Our initial energies, look at our initial energy.
Go for Simone, everyone.
Hey, here we go for Simone, yeah. We're having fun?
Hell
yeah.
And
Max.
yeah.
Right? So we had him in a good place. We had him with good momentum, and they're like, yeah, so my name is Max, and so I'm like, oh, okay, are you clinically depressed, Max? You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as our initial, instead of like, thank you. So my name is Max, this is the thing, and whatever. It's all fine, it's gonna be fine.
I think a lot of it is when it's new material, it's like this nervous tics that I do, that I see it, which I agree with you, of just like, going off the tracks a little bit, even thinking, oh, Simone, Vlad, you having fun? I'm like, oh, what's my first name? I was like, my name is Max. It's not supposed to be part of my bit. It's supposed to be straight into like, so my sister just announced that she's pregnant, everyone. That was supposed to be, and I was just like, oh, my name's Max.
Yeah. We are human. It's natural for us to code switch as we use two different skills, talking to people versus doing something that's prepared. But ideally, the trick of the game is to hide those code switch moments. Yeah. But you get it.
Actually, my sister just announced that she's pregnant. Thank you. We're all very excited for her. I did, although, it was a little bit odd having to call my brother-in-law and, congratulate him on that. You know what I mean? I was just like, hey, Natty, Heard you got my sister pregnant. Awesome. So awesome.
I like this joke, and the audience likes it too, but the problem is because you, Max, in this other situation is one, awesome, awesome. The energy of the joke is not evolving, it's devolving. So we either keep the realness of what you were in that moment, like awesome, and then we have to break through it so we can make sure the joke is still evolving, like awesome, right? That's how it feels. Oh, amazing. What that really means is gross, gross, gross. Right? So the joke is, but if our energy is deflating, then the joke is deflating and it feels like it's dying. Even though we're trying to be true to like what the feeling was. You get what I'm saying? The audience was in for this bit. They loved it and they were with you from like as soon as you sort of hatched the idea, but just performatively with the sort of like energy of the musicality, that's why their laugh followed your energy.
Don't get me wrong, like I'm excited to have a niece or a nephew. I just don't want to think about how it was made. You know what I mean? Like I could deal without the mental image of my sister having sex. Like my dad also just seemed...
Maybe it's too much to do all of this because it's like, you know, I just don't want to congratulate him. Awesome. Okay, we get that the implied is that like, oh, they're having sex. And then I like that we reveal, but yeah, it's maybe just too much on the same idea without
I felt the same way because it's like, or even just, I felt like, okay, so the awesome, like you said, the performative definitely needs to. And then after that, I like, which I took from you, you're like, be real with the audience. So it's like saying, don't get me wrong, I'm excited to have a niece or nephew, but I don't want to think how it's made. I don't, the mental image of my sister having, it's too much on, I think, I feel like I could cut one of those out maybe. Just like, I'm excited to have a niece or nephew, just don't want to think about my sister having sex, you know, or just.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, that could be its own game, the juxtaposition. Like, I'm excited to have a new niece or nephew, don't want to think it's how it's made. Oh yeah, you're gonna have the best uncle ever, you blob of what used to be my brother-in-law's cum. Okay. Like, you know, there's jokes like that that we can make that really if we want to go into a new game with it. Otherwise, I think it's sort of like still trailing off of the old game. You know, we've already finished all the meat on the bone, and then we're like, can I get this little teeniest little bit of scrap? And then I was like, no, just grab a new wing. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, this whole part is just unfortunately butchered it. The way it was supposed to be is very simple. Like, so I go, like, Dad, you understand what you even just said? Like, he defiled your daughter. Guys, understand, he was an overprotective father. He used to go nuts if a boy texted my sister. Now, he's texting a boy whose nuts were in my sister. That's it. Sure. How good it is in that aspect, I don't know, but in this version, it's
sure. Yeah, if a joke depends on wordplay, then it's a joke that we really can't flub the words of. So like the structure that you just gave, yeah, it lands. In this sort of meandering version, my mind was like, oh, is he going to play with like, my dad used to be crazy if a boy texted my sister. I thought you were going to go into an act out of your dad being like, that boy only wants one thing. Don't boys only want, he's only going to do one thing. Now he's like, thank you for doing that one thing to my daughter. In which case our wording wouldn't have to be as specific because it's more about the song and dance of the act out. But if the payoff is what you just, it's arbitrary. One is not more optimized than the other. It's just different comedy routes. But yeah, if we're choosing the wordplay, then yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't flub it.
Like, oh, it's his only daughter. It's his baby. And this is me just trying to think like, what am I supposed to?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to think about it, but they keep reminding me. You know, they keep saying shit like, we were trying for 6 months.
Oh, also, we keep saying, I don't want to think about it, and I know maybe it's because we're trying to remember, but at this point, we've said it 3 times, that should almost be a meta game, and it says like, look, I don't want to think about it. I don't know why I keep bringing it up, but, like, I don't want to think about it. I mean, seems like it's the only thing on my mind. I don't want to think about it. Now I'm making you think about it too, but because we did it, if we do anything that many times, if we're not using it specifically, we either need to not do it, or we need to change it into something we are using and evolving specifically.
We were trying for 6 months. Gross.
Yeah. I like staying in that emotion as the audience like gets it. Yeah. Great.
Now that.
Yeah, and then great punching in out from the emotion and reacting to their reaction. Great.
Brother-in-law's telling me, he's like, yeah, you know, all hours of the day just trying. Sister just be waking me up at night trying. Trying on the couch, trying on the table. We're trying anal. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? That's not, like, I'm not a doctor, but I don't think that's how it works. I'm not gonna congratulate you on anal, bro. It's crazy, man. But the family's happy.
How do you feel about that string?
I felt like I was in the moment, like in the pocket for the most part. I felt okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think the trying moment. Yeah, we definitely found the pocket for that. Yeah, I love it.
I'm happy. We're all happy. I will say, you know, when I got some girl pregnant, they weren't happy. They're like, you have to get rid of it. Again.
You notice how the audience like they pull back a little bit on again.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of it is already kind of dark. Then again becomes like even darker, and it becomes
Right.
less believable. And so you're going to a dark place with less honesty dollars. So the audience is more likely to turn on you for it. Does that make sense? As far as logic and far as wordplay, I like that again is like one word that can then like twist this idea and get a new, like logically, I like the structure of that joke, but because of the dynamics creating of the audience, some audiences this is going to happen. Is that like they barely let you get away with you have to get rid of it, and then doubling down, and then making it, then like, oh, he is just doing this just for comedy's sake.
Right.
Then it's like, you know. Just listen to the crest of the laugh and how it changes as we get to again.
Well, I'm happy. We're all happy. I will say, you know, when I got some girl pregnant, they weren't happy. They're like, you have to get rid of it. Again.
You know what I mean? Like, ha ha, right? You can tell that, ha ha.
But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You know, but I will say this whole parenthood thing did get me thinking.
Okay, how do you feel about that transition?
Terrible, because I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to say, and I'm like, fuck, let's just move on to the next part. And I think you see it in my body language and in my voice, where I'm just like, I can't remember what I'm supposed to say here. I guess I'll just move on to the next one. You know, but no one, and here's the thing, no one in the audience knows that that's something. It's me in my head, and my body's showing it, unfortunately.
That's the problem, right? It's like human things are going to happen to us, and we're going to drop our bits, but yeah. We have to find a way to make it, all those internal pilot moves invisible. Otherwise, internally, we're like, oh, fuck, I missed my great joke. But all the audience sees is like, oh, he's suddenly disappointed. And then they can't diagnose why. And so it just causes like a in their mind. But yeah, it's whatever. It's going to happen.
Parenthood thing did get me thinking. Do we have any parents in the house? Any parents make some noise? We got one person raising their hand, 2 people raising their hands. Can I ask you how many kids do you have? 3 kids? Okay, boys, girls?
2 boys, 1 girl.
2 boys, 1 girl. That's awesome. And how old are they?
23, 19, 17.
Okay, so they're out of the house, right? I'm gonna say something that you're not gonna like.
Okay, how do we feel about the opening of this bit and that crowd work?
I felt like watching it. I think because like the woo was so like lonely, I could have played with that a little bit. Like woo, I was like I could have had that fun of like it was like one girl going woo. You know, I could have maybe had some fun with that. You tell me if I did it well or not, because I'm curious. I try to remember what you told me a while back ago. It's like if you ask a question, acknowledge the question before you go to the next one. So I don't know if I was doing that.
What do you think I mean by acknowledge the question after you ask the next one?
What I interpreted that as is like acknowledging it in the sense of like she says like I have 3 kids, so it's just like letting the audience know like so it's like repeating it to the audience.
If the audience can't hear, in which case this woman is kind of speaking softer, it's judging by the size of this room, I could guess that part of the room maybe couldn't hear what she said. So yeah, we have to let all of the audience know the same information. So we sort of do have to like repeat her answer. But ideally, we also take a definitive stance on it. So you ask a question, that's new information in the room, and then we contextualize it before we can. So not just validate it, not just let sort of the audience knows it. That's yesing the answer. You also have to and it. You have to give some sort of definitive statement, opinion that then makes it funny before you get to the next question. Otherwise, it feels like an interview. So what we do is...
In the house, any parents make some noise? We got one person raising their hand, 2 people raising their hands.
Okay, so that's acknowledging the room. Just being like, okay, any parents in the house who maybe after tonight a few more? That's recontextualizing that answer that they'd given and making it a joke. You did the yes. You either like, okay, I at least resolved the okay, we got one, but we didn't make it funny in any way. So it's like half.
Can I ask you how many kids do you have?
Then it's like, can I ask you? You did just ask. So it's like that's even a weirder question because they're gonna say yes to the can you ask you, and then we're okay. But anyways, we have a second question.
So you would say just to go straight into, so how many kids do you have?
I know it's fine and people will interpret it the same way, but just like the syntax of can I ask you is weird because implicitly, can I ask you? Okay, yes. Okay, how many kids do you have? You know, it's how that would technically.
Because she already raised her hand. It's
how
permission
many
to
kids?
speak to her in a sense.
Yeah. This is either way, really, but this is me being a little bit too like.
No,
weird
it's good.
about
I like to to get the nitty gritty of these things.
Okay, can I ask you how many kids you have?
3 kids? Okay.
She says 3 kids. 3 kids. Someone was really trying and succeeding. Then we've leveraged that. Then we have permission to ask the next question. We've flexed it in a comedic way. Do we see that?
I do. Yeah, I had the wrong interpretation. I thought 3 kids. 3 kids. Okay, let's.
You understood. You had a key component that you do need to do. There's another key component attached to that. Okay, so 3 kids.
Acknowledge that.
2 boys, 1 girl. That's all.
Repeat it.
2 boys, 1 girl. Which one do you love the most? Well, that's another question. But two girls, 1 boys. 2 boys, 1 girl. Like some sort of contextualizing. Sam, Sean, and Samantha. I got it. Like even something stupid, as long as we leverage it in some way before we ask next question. Then it feels like comedy, because then it's like information leveraging information. Otherwise, it's just a shitty interview.
Right.
Awesome. And how old are they?
23, 19, 17.
Okay, so they're out of the house, right?
Even that, they're out of that, like, oh, okay, so they're out of the house, you can try again. In that same sense, we could have said, instead of a question, we could have said it as a statement and felt more like the, hey, I'm landing this plane, instead of, this plane isn't landing, so we're all sort of unresolved right now.
And I don't know how I would like to ask you what you feel about that, about like open mics. A lot of people bring their notes, there's no frowning upon it, but I feel like I'd rather go up as prepared as I can be, and I'm gonna forget some things, but it'll help me remember for the next time when I go, fuck, I forgot what I wanted to say. Versus like, let me get my notes, and now it's, you know what I'm trying to say?
So I don't care if someone brings up their notes on stage. However, if someone is locked into their notes and they're not connected with the audience while they tell that joke, then they aren't really trying that joke out. Like I was reviewing someone yesterday, and he was basically reading from the page, the whole joke. And some of the jokes were like, don't you guys understand? You guys feel that? It was like literally referencing the audience. But he's looking at the page, and I was like, you're not doing these jokes. You might as well not be doing these jokes because you're not doing them, but they are. So I don't mind if we have the page, if we can extract the full joke from it, if we just need it to be like, oh, that's what I'm talking about next. And then the rest of it can be connected with the audience. Or if we can bring the audience, like, guys, I'm such big dum-dum, I'm going to have to be looking at the page. Or if we can make it a game of us looking at the notes. But that is my distinction of like, you still have to give the joke its due, which means you have to connect with the audience during the joke. And that's where my line is drawn, if that makes sense.
Motivate me to think of an app where maybe you could try being a parent by renting a kid. Yes, you guys are all thinking, why didn't I think of that? Don't be stealing my ideas. I know it's a wild idea, don't get me wrong, I understand it's a bit out there, but a lot of apps were wild ideas in the beginning. Airbnb, that used to be called breaking and entering. Right, just going in some dude's house and just sleeping, making yourself at home. Uber, just going to a stranger's car, hopefully he'll take you to your destination. We were warned about this as kids, but now it's normal, so why not?
Oh, the only thing I don't like about this joke is Airbnb. That used to be breaking and entering. Describe how it was written. Uber, that's basically kidnapping. Once again, the structure of the joke is app, it's crime equivalent buzzword, then describe and qualify. That was what the first rung, that's how we were taught the structure of the joke was. And then second rung of the joke, there wasn't that label of what the crime was, there's just the description of it. So the joke sort of changed in the format and how we learned it the first time. Does that make sense?
Why not be able to rent a kid and maybe make you a better parent? Try it out before you commit, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. Half of us live here because our parents fucked us up. You know what I mean? So why not? I'm thinking this could be a really good idea. I thought this through. I'm going to tell you guys about it. I'm going to share it with you. All right, so basically you're going to sign up, right? You're going to put some preferences of the kid that you want. Hear me out. And basically, after you sign up, you're going to have a bunch of photos of kids that you're going to be able to swipe left or right. We know how it works. Be with me, people. Be with me. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Great feeling that moment about like, okay, they're pushing back. Be with me, like I'm being silly. Don't be worried. I am being silly. So nice reassuring of like having that bottom safety net for ourselves as the audience is like, okay, I'll let them cook a little bit. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, for anyone watching, this honestly is to your credit, Will, because that's how when we were discussing doing the spit, you were saying like you're gonna be burning tons of honesty dollars, and the best way to fix that is just basically acknowledging like this is a wild fucking concept. I understand, but hear me out. You know what I mean? Be with me, guys. I know. Just let me finish, and just kind of playing this game with the audience of like, I know it's crazy. I know this is silly, but let me finish my pitch, you know? And,
Yeah.
and I think it's working.
Ways we can get honesty dollars. If our bit is absolutely wacky crazy, it is bleeding honesty dollars. But there's also the realness of us as a person. So we'd be talking about our real feelings about this thing or about us sharing this bit with the audience. So it'd be crazy bit, but like I've never confessed this to someone. Then we get honesty dollars about I'm sharing the weirdness of my soul or the weirdness of my. There's the audience is real. So I'm like, hey, this crazy bit, let me cook. That's creating a real moment between you and the audience. So that's where the real dollars are being buffeted into our bank account, even though we're bleeding out because of the premise. And then the premise itself can be more real, relatable as well. As long as we go down and get honesty, if we feel the audience pulling back on us, as long as we double down on honesty dollars in one of those camps, it doesn't need to be all three, it just needs to be on one, then we can be forgiven if we're bleeding in the other two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I do feel like that's what's happening over here in a good way. It's like the audience knows I'm being silly. You know, they don't think I'm really building an app to swipe on kids. But like they're like, all right, we're having fun with him. He's being real with that. Be with me. And it's like, and that's kudos to you because yeah, I think the set would have been if I didn't have that advice.
Sure. Thank you, appreciate it.
I have the microphone. I'm gonna call it Kinder. It's gonna work, baby. It's gonna work, I'm telling you. Some of you, like you're shaking your head now. Some of you are not sold. I get it.
It kind of feels disingenuous to say some of you aren't sold after we get our only big applause break.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Literally, I'm gonna call it Kinder. Everyone's like, "Yay, that's a great idea!" And you're like, "You guys don't like that idea." Like, what? We just fucking gave you an applause break for it. What?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess I was trying to go on the fact that I got like the one shaker, so I could play like all right, some of you are not sold.
I mean,
like,
look,
I got most of you, but yeah. I can see what you're saying.
Some is nebulous. It technically is some, but because once again, it feels sort of like disconnected from the reality of the room.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Max, what if these kids look nothing like their photos? Fair. We've all been victim of the filters, of the angles. If that happens, we'll call it a Kinder surprise. All right, some of you are still not sold on this, all right? I still have some selling to do on my app. There's a bigger concern. Let's address the elephant in the room. You're all thinking, Max, there are crazy people in this world. Everybody's on the internet. How is this safe? I assure you, we are going to be doing a thorough background check on Kinder and make sure we do not send you any crazy kids. I'm thinking we're gonna get these kids from foster homes. We'll have a track.
What?
I thought of you when this was happening because we had this conversation about the foster kids. You're gonna see how I just lose them.
Oh, I was gonna say we just said crazy kids, and I was like, foster kids is gonna implicitly feel like we're saying all foster kids are crazy, and so it's gonna be like the ultimate punching down. So like we'll see.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see it. And I don't make it any better when I acknowledge it.
I lost some of you. I'm sorry. Some foster parents here. I'm trying to show love to the foster kids, guys. Be with me. And plus, they're not gonna ghost you. They want love.
Yeah, it just feels like, oh, poor children that don't have parents. Oh man.
I need to think of something else for that joke. The foster kids is not.
It needs to be silly. Crazier kids need to be silly. Like no kids that like Coco Melon. You won't have to watch Bluey. Like it needs to be sillier things that equals crazy kids that people don't want instead of real world, real consequences. Kids that actually kind of aren't wanted just because of societal norms that we feel bad that they aren't loved. You know what I'm saying?
I'm also thinking of just getting rid of the whole foster kid bit of just like maybe getting the kids from somewhere else completely.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Instead of foster kids, like don't worry, we're gonna do background checks on the kids. You won't get any crazy kids. And then crazy kids is then defined as kids that wear Crocs, kids that fucking laugh like this, kids that do this drinking.
Right.
Yeah, right? So it's not these poor foster kids. It's just these silly things that
Right.
kids do that annoy us that maybe you wouldn't want. But it's you know what I'm saying? It's not
I like that way
rich
more.
kids, poor kids. Any kids should show these behaviors, and intrinsically you could train kids out of these behaviors, so it's not intrinsic to who they are. Versus
Yeah.
foster kids are sort of a victim of a system
Yeah.
against their own will. So then it's like that's why we're not choosing them. Feels like we've double victimized them.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it
Yeah.
shows. Clearly, they weren't loving it.
Yeah.
All right, fine. We'll address the real issue that most people are thinking. You're thinking, Max, this sounds like an app for pedophiles. I'm aware how.
I think pedophiles would have landed harder if it wasn't just after another sour moment. Like that's a
Yeah.
rough one to sell, and it just came after like you're like, hey, you guys want to buy this $1 million timeshare? And they're like, no. And you're like, well, how about this $2 million timeshare? And they're like, fucking no.
Do not miss out if you want to become billionaires like me. Kinder's going to the moon. Don't miss out, guys. Thank you so much. My name is Max.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about our outro moment?
Well, too wordy.
Yeah. Look at
on
this.
that.
Look at this. We go thank you, and instead of acknowledging the thank you, we look at the mic and then walk off like like wow.
Billionaires like me. Kinder's going to the moon. Don't miss out, guys. Thank you so
We don't even wait for like after a reaction for it's going to the moon. Thank you guys. Like I don't like this joke. I want to get the fuck out of here. It's sort of like subconsciously what that's saying.
become billionaires like me. Kinder's going to the moon. Don't miss out, guys. Thank you so much. My name is Max.
Thank you guys so much. So they're going, yay, we liked you. And you're like, this microphone's very interesting. Okay, they're like, hey, we still like you. And like, oh, let me look over here. Oh, now, right, we're not paying them any attention. As they're like, we like you. Like, I don't give a fuck about y'all. Okay, so having just watched this together, thoughts, comments, concerns, things you wouldn't do next time, or any of the concepts we talked about that you want to give a few other thoughts about yourself before we sort of like wrap a bow around it.
Like I said, this is my first time doing these bits. So, I see there's some things that definitely work. There's some things that I want to cut out, such as we mentioned, like, if we're going specific, like the foster kids, I think that's just a joke that doesn't work. I think the biggest take for me is what you mentioned about if you're going to changing from open-ended questions to more definitive statements. I'm definitely going to be working on that tonight. And also, if you're going to ask a question, I, for some reason in my head, thought, okay, ask a question, repeat the question to the audience, go to the next question. It's like, no, like you said, resolve that question in any way possible. So that's my big take from this set, which is, it's definitely a habit that I'll need to break. I'll need to work, and the only way to do that is
that one's hard because it counteracts what we do in real life, right? In real life, when we don't have information, we're like, what is that? Oh, explain more. Oh, tell me more. We very rarely like, where are you from? That fucking place. It seems rude if we do this activity in real life. But on the stand-up stage, we sort of need to do it. And so, like, it's a hard one to train because we're training the other way, literally 24/7 off stage.
Yeah, and I guess in my head also is like when I try to do crowd work, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna ask questions until they tell me something funny, which is not the right way to do it. I'm realizing now. Where are you from? Seattle. Okay, Seattle. I don't have anything on Seattle. Oh, and ask the next question until finally like.
Even if you don't have anything on Seattle, like. Once again, we can be vulnerable with the audience. Like, where are you from? Seattle? Usually I do a joke here, but got nothing for Seattle. Okay, next question.
Right.
Like, we can even once again, that's one of those things where the comedy is no longer about the cleverness. The comedy is about the honesty dollars. I'm by showing my real. It's back to that honesty dollars conversation. The honesty dollars there is my real confession of my real feelings that I don't have anything in this moment. So I can get the juice from that then.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Like, we've all seen a comedian do that. Like, where are you guys from? Maquoketa, Iowa. Guess what, crowd? I don't have any go-to response for Maquoketa, Iowa. Or when a comedian's like, what do you do for a living? I'm a rare animal poison extractor. I do a crowd work about a lot of jobs, but I've never had exotic animal poison extract. And just by, we've all seen a comedian get a laugh by a joke like that. It's because they're using this tactic.
I think, like, for me on this set is just more than the set itself. What I'm looking at is for all future sets is, like you said, it's the little things coming up on the stage, looking at the microphone, getting off the stage, looking at the microphone, looking at the host. Not like audience is no longer relevant to me because I finished my bit is not the way I need to be doing this. And then in regards to the bit itself, it's a new bit. So the only way to make it better, I'm going to have to, punch it up, cut things out, reword things. So harder for me now to like really analyze the bit itself. I would love to hear like your feedback on the actual bit, but for me, I guess all the little nuances that I'm doing is what I'm taking from this for sure.
Because we did it at the very end of a set and the beginning of the set was talking about real feelings with like our sister and our new niece or nephew, we got enough rapport to get away with it. But once again, some audiences are going to be like, really? We're talking about a kid app? So it's like there's just going to be some people that's a much harder sell than others. If we can get them on our side, great. And at least this current iteration is way better than what I thought this would be when the very first beginning of like, I want to do a kid sharing app premise was pitched to me. But the overall, that slight resistance from me still stands, and that like if you're doing a show for like at a senior center for like all
Right.
70-year-old grandmas, they might not be in for it.
Right. What are your thoughts on the first part of the bit with the sister's pregnant bit? Anything that you could think of that maybe could be punched up? Like I was thinking, sorry, I've already answered mine, but I was thinking of like a few things that I want to add on to that sister's pregnant bit, which is like the lack of boundaries that some people will have of just like, I don't know, someone like my mom, my mom's telling not like my brother-in-law, not to, like, you got some strong swimmers. Like, what the fuck? Like what did you just say? Or just like all these different, like maybe talking about the boundaries that people are, oh, when are you gonna try? When are you gonna have one of your own? It's like, do you understand what you're asking and all that? So I was wondering if there's anything on your end that you heard that you're like, oh, you could maybe add this to the bit, or
If you're looking for things to add, anything that makes it more personal and more specific to you, because if I'm being honest, the idea about like people trying to have kids and then really that means they're fucking, like I've heard variations of this bits,
yeah,
before from lots of people, but which is fine. We can do our iteration of it. But the thing that'll really make ours stand out is things that are specific to us, our family, or how we feel about it. So anything that can get you that nuance, which makes our take different, would be best.
yeah, fair enough.
Hey, so if you're still watching at this point, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more comedy from either of us, both of our socials will be in the descriptions. Any words of parting, Max?
Like I said, just got to keep working, got to keep getting on stage, and just the more I'm on stage, the better it'll be.